everyone, Zelrinth here. I had just seen that Yoohee's kit, at least the translated without the numbers, is now out and available on Pridewind. So we thought we'd take a quick look at her and see what she kind of does. It is confirmed now looking at it that she is a support slash damage dealer for the physical team, and she seems like she's going to be the core that you're going to want to build around if you're going to build a physical team. But first, before we get into that, just know I've hit 1,900 subscribers. I'm trying to push to 200. I've been actually making quite a lot of progress over the last couple of days. But if you have not, if you could like, comment, subscribe, it really helps. I'm just about to hit that 2,000 mark. It's a big gold mine. And I'm going to just keep trying to move up as I can. But yeah, let's go ahead and get into it here. So with Yoohee, the first thing we want to take a look at is her passive here. Now, I've already looked at everything, so I have a general idea of it. Now, we don't have the numbers, so we don't have that, but we kind of have an idea what everything is doing just looking at this here. So the first thing is the passive buff right here, Lead Dancer's Momentum. When allied units deal physical damage, Yoohee gains Confective Index. So this is kind of a key part of it. You're going to want as many units that can do physical damage within your team, which could include some of your elemental units, because they do have physical attacks built into some of their kits. So she can work with them as well. But if you have like a full physical team, this is also looking like she can work quite well. But overall, she can really rack up Confectance Index. If this is just every time a physical damage is done, she gets one. I mean, that could be huge. Then you have, after using a normal attack or active skill, she can use one of her other skills here, Graceful Spin or Passionate Resonance. So she's actually got 2 additional skills on top of her normal skill that she can activate after she uses one of her attacks or skills up above. And so those are Graceful Spin, which is an extra active buff and extra skill. Grants Graceful Steps and Anti-Guard Damage Boost, which Graceful Steps increases the critical damage and restores HP after attacking. So this has a heal in it. It almost seems like she could, we'll have to see the numbers, but she could potentially be your sustain as well. Like a good damage dealer and sustain and support all in one. We'll just have to see when we get the numbers. But we have that where she can basically increases their crit damage and healing, and then anti-guard damage boost. When dealing physical damage, if the target's defense reduction exceeds 100% damage dealt to it is increased. Now, we don't have all the numbers and everything here, so it's going to be hard to tell what's going to be required to hit that. But we have outside and other kits and stuff, and once we get the numbers, when I look at her, we'll start looking at what her core team might be. But this makes me think you're going to want to try and put the units together in a way that can get 100% defense ignore. Now, I know like one big one is that I can just think off the top of my head is the Battle Pass SMG. If you have it at max dupes, it can ignore 50% right by itself. So that could be huge with an SMG user, especially one that does a lot of physical damage. So we'll kind of have to see there. But I don't know everybody's kits off the top of my head, but I do know there's some defense reductions around on them. And so this is giving me the indication that it's going to be pretty easy, or maybe not easy, but it's going to be possible to exceed 100% once she comes out. And there's a little bit of it in her kit that we can kind of see. We just don't have the numbers. Then we have the other skill she can use instead of that one. She can pick between these two. Passionate Resonance. Basically exactly the same thing, except Passionate Steps. Instead of healing, it grants cover to the unit at the end of turn. So if they need health, you'll use Graceful Spin. If they don't need health, then you'll use Passionate Resonance to get them cover. And so this they can use after any attack or skill, which we'll take a look at up here. We have a Rhythm Point, which is their basic attack, just fires a shot dealing physical damage. Improved Footwork. This is an active skill targeted. Fires a shot, dealing a physical damage. If Yoohee has 3 or more points of Confectance Index, consumes Confectance Index to make this attack ignore portions of the target's defense. And so this is part of where I'm saying I feel like she's going to be the one, at least initially, that can go over that 100% cap. And you'll kind of see a little bit of that when we look further into her kit. And so, because right now it says these, if you read them, excluding self, but later if you read into the other stuff here, you'll see she's actually able to get that buff herself as well. So that one is probably going to do a good chunk of damage for her. And then we have the True Poetry of Dance, which is her AoE buff and control skill. So this will grant targeted defense 1 to the targets and all allied units within a radius of 2 tiles. And so it grants that to your allied units, but then also deals AoE physical damage to all enemies within that area and inflicts stun. And stun is pretty much one of the best CCs in the game. And then after attacking, can additionally use the active skill, Graceful Spin, or Passive Resonance. We already know that. That's just her getting down here to now also put this buff on them. So that is nice there as well. Then we have a Fatal Highlight, which is our ultimate, and it's a buff. Grants troop core to self, so grants troop core to herself. And troop core is when granting allies dance steps, so those below skills, including her graceful steps and passionate steps, and anti-guard damage boost, she gains those same effects. So with her ultimate, she can basically give herself her buffs down below. And then the last part is, and then grant stability offensive to all allied units, so you're going to be able to break stability really easily with these units. And then she gains extra command after using her ultimate. So it almost kind of feels like the rotation is going to be you use her ultimate, which will lead into one of her other skills. Then you'll use her other skills that'll then lead into Graceful Spin or Passionate Resonance, so that she puts it not only on your ally, but herself as well. And that's where she can actually do a decent chunk of damage, because she can, with this anti-guard damage boost, I'm thinking she's going to be able to exceed 100% defense reduction and thus do extra damage there. We'll just have to see when we get the numbers. And we'll kind of see a little bit more when we get into her keys here. Fixed key, Give and Take. When improvised, footwork consumes additional Confectance Index, increases its critical damage. And so that's the one up here, that if she has 3 or more Confectance Index. So basically, if she has more, she uses all of it to do damage with this. And I'm going to guess that Ignore defense is tied to how much Confectance Index she burns, which she can have a lot, because her passive, she gains 1 for every time physical damage is done. And so this one's going to be pretty nice, because I can see this being a core part of her kit, because now you're going to do crit damage on defense ignore. So this could be pretty huge on that one. Enjoy the stage. After triggering Best Dancer, restore her own health. So this is kind of getting to the fact maybe she can be our sustain for physical. When you do like the boss, platoon boss battles, you don't need that much healing. And this one she can heal herself, plus with this skill heal an ally. And she should be able to do that in almost every turn. So you're starting to kind of see potential for her being the sustain. I don't think she's going to be, but it looks like the possibilities are in the realm here. Fixed key, Rhythm Resonance. Before using improvised footwork, dispels a random buff from the target. So just a nice little debuff. That's good there. Emotional Influence. When using the True Poetry of Dance, if stun is applied to an enemy, once stun ends, inflict movement denied. So first, they can't do anything. They can't move and they can't attack. And then when they come out of the stun, they can't move. One of the big things that I'm seeing with this, and they've already talked about adding more difficulty to this game, this is making me think like units like Lena are going to get a lot more value in the future, because this has got a lot of CC in it. And right now, on the CN side, CC is not really needed. The platoon bosses aren't hard enough, and you can't CC them. They're immune to it. So maybe when it comes to the new difficulty they're adding, CC may be a core component that you're wanting, just looking at her kit. So that'll be really nice there if you're really needing CC, because this is basically you can't move for 2 turns, and you can't attack for 1. They have Fixed Key, Perfect Stage Positioning. If Yoohee has not moved this turn, her range of normal and active skills increases next turn. So this one feels like it would kind of fit together with these 2 keys right here. First, she makes it where they're stunned and can't move. And then she gets a little bit more range if she doesn't move. So she stays still, attacks the enemy. And then after the turn comes back, she has that extra range. And so that can be, it's just kind of like how you have kind of similar with your snipers with Macchiato and Dush, where ice slows them down, and then they can keep the range from them. They can shoot a lot farther. So I wonder how that'll work. I'm really thinking CC, just based on some of the kit, may become important with later, more difficult content. We'll just have to see how it works out there. Then you have Masterful Choreography, which is her last key. When possessing a Never Give Up, increases her attack power. So just a straight increased attack buff to her. So nice overall fixed keys for her. It kind of gives me the impression she's kind of that mix of everything, like a support, sustain, and damage dealer. We just have to see the numbers. And then we have the shared key, lead Dancer's Prowess. When dealing projectile type damage, so basically physical damage increases damage dealt. So nice overall damage increase. I mean, we don't know the numbers or anything on it. I'm hoping it's a crit percent. And then, yeah, physical damage increase, which I think for the common keys has been generally around a 7%. So nice little common key there. And then we go down to her elite weapon here. And this one is Starfell Spark. It's an assault rifle. We already kind of knew that. It does medium ammo. And so it has Radiant Sparks. All allied units' active physical attacks ignore part of the target's defense. So right here, we don't know the numbers, but it has a defense ignore in it. This one is huge. Like, I don't know what the numbers are going to be here, but depending on what the numbers are, you could see some pretty good numbers, pretty good damage. The problem is, I'm guessing this is going to be tied to dupes. So you might see it be like 10%, 20% on a second dupe, 30% third dupe, 40% fourth dupe, 50% fifth dupe, which would be crazy. But that's a lot of dupes for a weapon. And something like this, working like another weapon that already has something similar, would be the Battle Pass SMG, which if you have that maxed dupe, which is kind of possible since it's the Battle Pass, that one can do 50% ignore. So I could see this having a lot of potential and actually working really well alongside the Battle Pass SMG. We'll just kind of have to see how that, we have to see the numbers here. But then you have this last part here, the amount of defense ignored by Yoohee's active physical attacks. It says Yoohee's, it's whoever, I'm going to guess it's whoever has the gun, because you can put this on anybody. I mean, the big thing is its physical attacks. So unless there's another, one of the other ones like Dayan who could maybe take advantage of it, it's primarily going to be Yoohee using it. Their active physical attacks increased based on the number of buffs applied. And so the amount of defense, so if you can get a lot of buffs out there, who knows how much that's going to allow her to ignore herself. One big thing on this gun, and then we have the last part of the trait, at the start of action, if the user's HP is full, gain a random buff. So they gain a random buff that applies to this defense ignore. One thing I'm seeing with this gun is this gun, to me, is going to be probably one of the, of all the guns I've seen, one of the better ones in the game. Like, this is pretty significant on defense. We'll just have to see the numbers, because I like everything about this gun, compared to some others that really don't feel that good. It just really depends on how much defense ignore you can pull off with this thing. Because that, tied alongside her skill up here that increases damage dealt when it exceeds 100%, we could see some really, really big numbers coming out of her. So it really just depends. This could be the best weapon, like I said, for Dayan. Dayan uses an assault rifle, and you can get a lot of buffs on her, so she does physical attacks. She can ignore their defense, take advantage of that. Who knows? We'll just have to see what comes of it there. But that is everything we have here. I haven't seen anything else on her or any specific numbers. I'm guessing that will be coming soon. And it may already be out there and I'm just now missing it. I haven't seen it yet. But I will make a follow-up when we actually see her entire kit, possibly. And then that one will be a little bit shorter since this one's already covered the skills. I'll just go over the numbers in the follow-up. We don't need to go through every single thing again when we get to that point. But overall, this is going to be, in my opinion, just looking at the kit, a very good high-priority character to pick up, especially if you like your physical units. Now, a lot of units have physical within their kits. I mean, right now, without her expansion key, QJ does a lot of physical attacks. Now, once she gets her expansion key, she's going to be doing burn, and she's not going to want to be part of the physical team. But, I mean, who knows? Maybe, I don't know how the expansion key specifically works, but maybe you can turn off QJ's expansion key so that she does physical damage still with her support attacks. Because that could be really big, too. If you can take QJ and take off her expansion key that converts it to burn and let her do physical attack damage again with her follow-ups, that could be huge to put her in the physical team. I don't know how it works yet. We'll have to kind of see. And we'll see how CN does when they test it. But overall, I am liking this kit, and she is going to be a very important pickup for me. I know I'm picking up every unit, but even if I was a light spender or even free to play, just looking at her kit right now, I think she's going to be a very, very valuable unit to get in the future. We don't know what her dupes are yet. We don't know the numbers. We'll get them here soon. But yeah, that's pretty much it for her. And I will make another video when more information comes up. But if you like my content, if you could like, comment, and subscribe, it really helps. And thanks for watching.